I think I wiped all mine off. Hello, welcome to the Now Talk Show at Central New Jersey Network. I'm trying to get it right. Today, I guess we have Miss Felicia. I forget your last name again.
Park
Park
Rogers.
Park Rogers.
Rogers.
Park Rogers. This Park Rogers. I'm trying to start over. And actually, she's from Vision Zero, and she's the director, right, of the project.
I'm a coordinator for Vision Zero, New Jersey.
Coordinator for Vision Zero New Jersey. So I welcome you to Nile Talk Show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Can you please explain to me your role?
Sure. I work at Tri-State Transportation Campaign, and we're a regional organization. We do advocacy and policy and research, and our goals are to make the streets safer, reduce congestion, improve the environment, and reduce traffic deaths. And as part of our work, we work across New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. And we have several campaigns in New Jersey, including the Complete Streets campaign, which is to make streets usable by both cars, but also transit, pedestrians, micromobility like bicycles and scooters and wheelchairs. And another one of our campaigns is Vision Zero Alliance, which is the goal to have zero traffic deaths in the state of New Jersey by 2035.
Wow. So do you see the increasing or decreasing of your campaign?
Well,
of the deaths?
Unfortunately, since the COVID pandemic hit, we've seen a dramatic increase in traffic-related deaths in New Jersey. Last year, we lost 658 people to fatalities on the roads. About 20% of those are bicyclists. A large number of them are pedestrians, and some of them are car users.
Oh, wow.
Now, New Jersey was doing really well in reducing its traffic violence and fatality rates. But since 2019, it's been going up 20% this year in 2022 alone.
Mm-hmm.
New Jersey used to be in the bottom 10 of the states for traffic-related deaths, and now it's in the top 10.
Oh, wow. I know as we was having our lovely woman conversation on our way up here, an hour and 20 minutes, I know, like I share with you, there has been increasing death during transit, New Jersey transit buses and trains, because I do a lot of research on that particular department of all these lives being taken. As you see on my clothing, there's so many lives are being taken by buses, and trying to figure out why. And also by train. I know when you say, when I tweet, sometimes I'm on Twitter, and I tweet about these lives are being taken, they be like, oh, well, on the train because they shouldn't be on the road. I mean, on the train track. It's not the train's fault. The train engineer fault. Well, I can't say train because train doesn't kill people. Or cars doesn't kill people. It's the person who operating these vehicles kill people. Because there's a car just sitting in the parking lot. It doesn't end lives. What's your...
Well, starting with the issue of cars, what we have found is that there are ways people make mistakes. That is, to err is human. And there are a couple of data-proven ways that we can reduce deaths by car and by vehicle. One is smaller vehicles. In America, vehicles are getting bigger. The heavier it is, the bigger it is, the less visibility it has, the more likely it is for a driver to not see somebody, to not slow down. The faster you're going, the heavier your car is, the more likely you are to cause serious injury or even death. I was just recently visiting another country. You know what? They have a rule. Cars, trucks, they need to be a certain size, dramatically smaller than what's allowed in America. You're seeing these SUVs now that are so big, the front of the hood it goes over my head if I'm standing in front of it. How are you supposed to see a child crossing the street?
That is so true.
No matter the child could be holding their parent's hand, crossing with the right of way in the sidewalk, but some of these vehicles are so big. So that's one thing. It does make a difference what the vehicle is in terms of increasing rates of serious injury and fatality. The other thing is speed. Speed kills. So I have a slide here that shows if you're going 40 miles per hour and you hit a person, the fatality rate and the rate of serious injury is much higher.
Okay, I see.
1 in 10 pedestrians can survive being hit by a car that's going 40 miles an hour. On the other hand, if you're going 30 miles an hour, 5 out of 10 pedestrians survive. But if you bring that to 20 miles per hour, which is still plenty fast to get where one needs to go, it brings the fatality rate down to 1 in 10. 9 pedestrians will survive being hit by a car at 20 miles an hour, whereas only 1 pedestrian would survive by 40 miles per hour. So one of our goals in Vision Zero is to bring down the speed limits and to have those speed limits enforced. That makes a huge difference.
It will.
It makes a huge difference. People are going to drive. People make mistakes when they're driving, but they're driving a 2-ton vehicle. It's their responsibility to be safe, to go slow, to maintain their visibility.
See, when I hear mistake, I'm just the way I look at it, I analyze mistake. Mistake is something that you can correct, but when you're in a person's life, you cannot correct that.
That's right.
You cannot correct. We all have one life, and that's that. Once your life is taken, there's no coming back from that. So when I hear just the term of mistake, it's just like, especially when dealing with human lives, because that's someone's child, mother, a relative, spouse, So there's, to me, just me, there's no such thing as a mistake when it's dealing with human lives. Well, when you do other stuff, you can correct it. But when you end somebody's life, there's no correction,
Well, the Vision Zero policies have a lot of data and research behind them that show that you can bring the deaths to, the goal is 0 street deaths. Jersey City and Hoboken have had 0 car fatalities in 4 years.
Okay.
And those are the 2 cities in New Jersey that have fully adopted and implemented Vision Zero policies.
That's good.
So it does make a difference. The other difference is what we call the engineering of the streets, of street safety. So right now, most of the roads in New Jersey are designed for the ease and efficiency of cars. However, if you change how you design those streets, if there are sidewalks, if there's lighting at a bus stop, if there are safe routes to school and safe routes to work for non-car users, again, you bring it down. The way we design our built environment creates a lot of change. So for example, air pollution, emissions. 40, 50 years ago, we just let cars have whatever kind of pollution put in the air, asthma, lung cancer, acid rain, smog, terrible effects. Well, regulations and car design changed in order to improve public health. And that's what we need to do today with our roads and our streets. This is a public health emergency. And the engineering needs to be changed so that we get to that 0 lives lost.
I guess that's why with the motor vehicle, when you're trying to, when you get your car re-registered, they do the testing of the pollution.
That's
because all the fumes is in the air and very detrimental to pedestrian, people.
Right. And you could make that personal responsibility. You could say, I, Felicia Park Rogers, I don't want to contribute to air pollution on the earth and in my city. So I'm going to drive. There are 10 cars out there. I'm going to pick the one with the least amount of pollution. But you can also have a policy in place that says no car can be manufactured above this certain level of emissions, so that everybody, and even inside there, I can choose electric, I can choose hybrid, but we need a combination of regulation and policy together with personal responsibility and personal choice. Otherwise, the public good suffers. And in this case of what we're talking about, the public good are the individuals using public space to get where they need to go. And every single person should be able to get where they need to go safely and without serious injury or fatality, whether they are trying to get there on their feet, on their moped, on their
Right.
roller skates, in their wheelchair.
Yes, because again, I say that somebody's life been taken. When a human life is taken, it changed their loved one life forever. You know, some people suffer with strokes. Some people, especially when a mother who lost their child. I mean, I'm not saying the spouse. Oh, the reason why I say well, the mother. I mean, anybody. But what I'm saying, especially like the mom, because when the mother have a child, you know, you birthing that, you're feeling that child in your womb, and all of a sudden, your child is taken by a hand of someone else, which could be prevented. Like we said, speeding.
Yes.
It's like they have no regards for human life or the road itself.
Yes.
So I wouldn't like things like that. I wouldn't call them a mistake. I think we as motorists, we have control. The vehicle doesn't control us. We control it.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to know, okay, let me stop. Okay, here go life. I'm not going to have no disregard for life and say, okay, this person across the street, I'm going to do that. You know, the reason why I'm saying this, I remember when I was in a car accident. I don't, it's very painful. I don't want to go into it. But anyway, and I couldn't drive for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to get on public transportation.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm sitting there, it's the bus driver. She like speeding, and a pedestrian's going across the street.
Mm.
And she said, oh, he better get out my way before I hit him.
Mm.
And she's laughing. I didn't find that funny.
No.
I said, that's somebody's life.
Mm-hmm.
That's somebody's loved one.
Yeah.
I said, why would you do something like that?
Right.
Well, I don't care. I'm like, that's very arrogant. You know, and she like, hey, I will still have my job if something like this happened. I kid you not. That's what she said from New Jersey Transit Bus. I'm like, are you really kidding me?
Mm. So that is definitely against New Jersey Transit policy. I'm not a representative of New Jersey Transit, but I do know that they have several different levels of investigation in the case of any incident or accident that is New Jersey Transit involved. So they do an internal review, which is subject to rules that are created inside of the union and the union contracts with New Jersey Transit. And they also do an external investigation in order to find if there's criminal negligence or intent or something in the situation that you're, describing. The number of people, and again, we don't want any single person to be killed. The number of people who are unfortunately killed in relation with New Jersey Transit bus, for example, each year is in the single digits, as in fewer than 10 people a year. Now, we don't want any person. But if you consider that New Jersey Transit operates millions of trips over the course of the year, I would like to think that what you're describing is an exception. I also think anytime if you're on a bus and you're seeing a bus driver who's doing that type of behavior, acting that kind of way, take down the bus number, report them. You said you're on Twitter, tweet at New Jersey Transit and report
I did
the
that.
incident.
No help. Trust me, I did that. No
so
help.
Sorry. Yeah.
Another question. What I want to clarify, I know I had went to Washington to the Department of Transportation. They have accident all on these reports. And from what I understood and what the woman had explained to me, she says it doesn't consider an accident. The term is crashes.
Yes.
Can you please clarify? Because people are like, no, accident. I said, no. So since you're in this field, can you please explain to the audience?
Well, this goes exactly to the point that you were saying about a mistake. What we want to say is the word accident is a passive word. Oh, accidents happen. You spilled your milk.
Clean it up.
A driver has responsibility. You don't drive, you don't drink and then get behind the wheel.
Right.
You have responsibility because you're driving a 2-ton piece of steel that can easily take a life, right? It's a massive responsibility. It's not an accident, it's a crash.
Mm-hmm.
So a crash is an active word, and it also helps you understand it's not a passive incident. Mm-hmm. It's something that involves an action.
Right.
Now, like I said, there are different ways to to reduce that. We do in New Jersey have an incredibly wonderful group called Families for Safe Streets New Jersey.
Okay.
And this group is primarily made up of family members who have lost somebody in a car crash.
Okay.
A lot of them are vulnerable road users, a child, a bicyclist, somebody crossing the street at night. And the families are involved in advocating for safer streets, for Vision Zero. And in fact, we have a really important piece of legislation that will be coming up in February in order to promote Vision Zero policies. It's called the Vision Zero Commission. The Vision Zero Commission.
Okay.
And the Vision Zero Commission would include people from New Jersey Transit, Department of Transportation, the government bodies that run and regulate the streets, but it would also include people who had been personally impacted, people who had lost a family member, people who advocate for complete streets, for green streets, for safe streets. We need to re-engineer how our streets are made and designed to make them safer. And we can do that. What it takes is the will to do that.
Now, can you explain to me what is the meaning of green street?
Sure. Well, a complete street is a street that's designed for bicyclists, pedestrians, transit, and cars.
Okay.
Whereas most of our streets are only designed for cars. A green street is a street in New Jersey is blessed with, and one of the campaigns that Tri-State Transportation Campaign is involved with is circuit trails and creating streets that are have trees and are green and connection and greenways. Maybe they're pedestrian only, maybe they're bike only, but they're areas that are pleasant and pleasurable to use for leisure and recreation and health.
Oh, okay. So, can you tell me just a little bit about your background, like education, school, the college that you attend, that really fits what you went to school for, meaning college, that fits?
Sure.
This?
I've worked in different community organizations for a long time and working towards having society that's more equitable. And the way that I think of it as is building up individuals and community in order to have a healthy society. You can't just build up individuals and you can't just build up community.
Right.
You need to take care of both. I worked for an elected official, Supervisor Sheila Kuehl in Los Angeles, and it was my first opportunity to work in local government. And the really gratifying work that I was doing there was involved in increasing the public transit. And Los Angeles is a city that, when it was first developed and built, had more public transit than any city in the country, including New York. Have 500 miles of trolley cars that went from the mountains to the sea. And unfortunately, with the automobile revolution, they came in and they literally tore up all the tracks and got rid of all of that. So everybody knows LA is famous for being a car-centric city. My boss, Sheila Kuehl, was working to increase transit and increase subways and increase bike lanes and increase pedestrian safety. And I was really intrigued with that. I moved to New York and I went to Hunter College and got my master's in urban planning with an emphasis in transportation infrastructure. And from there, I was able to start this work at Tri-State.
Oh, okay. I wish one day I'm going to get to California. I heard it's very beautiful. So in terms of, since you mentioned you was in Los Angeles, California, how is the fatality is the same like New York and New Jersey? Do you know?
There are higher fatality rates especially in parts of California, like Los Angeles. New Jersey has done a good job, like I mentioned, at bringing down, especially since the seatbelt laws and the DUI laws became more strictly enforced, and since seatbelt laws became universal, it really brought down the number of car crash deaths in New Jersey. But in the last 2 years, like I said, we've seen the increase go up by 20%. We still don't know why, but it doesn't really matter why. What matters is the corrective action, how to
That's right.
to bring it down.
as we was driving, you see the engineering of some of these roads is calling for death on a pedestrian because some of these streets doesn't have a street. I mean,
No
on sidewalk. I'm sorry, no
sidewalks, no
sidewalk.
crosswalks,
Right.
no evening lighting, bus stops on the side of the road with no pedestrian access to them, no bus shelters. Yeah, these are things the state of New Jersey and Governor Murphy, he could pick up the phone and call his commissioner
gonna happen,
of the
but go ahead.
Department of Transportation and say, I want these things. There is money from the new federal infrastructure law, the investment, the IIJA.
What is that?
It's the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act.
Okay.
That was passed under President Biden in his first year. It's $1.2 trillion piece of transportation legislation. It's the biggest infrastructure
Wow.
law
Okay.
in the history of our country. It has the power to be transformative in the same way that Eisenhower transformed the country with the interstate highways. But it's my belief that we're on the wrong track with it as long as it still preserves the primacy of cars. What we need to do and what the state of New Jersey could do is use what they call flex funding. So they get a certain amount, billions of dollars from the federal government to put towards transportation.
Okay.
Right now, the rule is 80% of it goes to roads and highways, and 20% of it goes to transit and transit-related projects. But it doesn't have to be that way. They can flex that money. They could spend up to 50% of the money they get from the federal government on transit and complete streets, put in sidewalks, re-engineer the intersections, implement Vision Zero, help the local towns and counties implement Vision Zero, put in protected bike lanes, make greenways, fight climate change, reduce traffic deaths. It's all there.
Yeah, it's a lot. And again, I keep on, I know I do a lot of research and I see a lot about fighting with the pedestrian motorists who killing pedestrians. And I keep focusing back on New Jersey Transit bus and train engineer. Because like I told you, I do a lot of reading and research about it. It's one site called Justice for New Jersey Transit Coach USA Victims. Countless life. It's like twice a week a life has been taken. And the reason why I know I'm just trying to hold my tears back because my son was a victim.
I'm so sorry.
So when you ask me in the car, what do I have ties to it? That's my tie. And that's how come I know there's lives, countless lives are being taken because people contact me. But the thing is, they don't report it. They don't report it. I'm sorry. So people who lost their loved one by the trains and buses, they see articles about what happened to my son. And I'm Google away. So I get people to research and Google when they see the article to see how to contact me. And I have a page for my son, Justice for Deshaun Johnson. And people find me and they share their story with me. And I hear a lot of people like, I didn't know all these lives was taken by New Jersey Transit. That's a lie. That's a lie. But when I tell them to Google Justice for New Jersey Transit and Coach USA Victim, when I say a lot of lives are taken, and I'm like taken back because I know Channel 4 had did, I guess like a documentary on these things. And he interviews a president for New Jersey Transit. This is under Christie administration. And the president of there saying, oh, it doesn't happen all the time. So he had the data, meaning the guy from News 4. And it shows countless lives are being taken. But the thing is, a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know. But when you do Google, so I said, well, let me go and do research. Countless lives. So, and the reason why I started doing research, again, my son. And where his life was taken in Bloomfield, New Jersey.
Wow.
And I was talking about engineering. the way it's just so hard for me to say the bus, but I suffer with post-traumatic stress due to what they took me through a lot mentally. So I'm like mentally broken with New Jersey Transit lawyer, and the lawyers that I had really tormented me. But anyway, I don't want to get into that. But the way the engineering of the stop is, it's like 3 inches away from the curb. Doomed for accident to happen. And so when I did research, countless lives has been taken in that area.
Wow.
Yes. So I said this, I bring this up because I also saying engineering
Yes.
also has
Yes.
something to do with these pedestrian lights. As we was driving up here,
Yeah.
no sidewalk,
Right.
engineering. So
Right. And no shoulder, nowhere for the bus to pull over, no bus lane, no pedestrian protections.
in speeding, that's another thing. If you ever been downtown Newark or anywhere in New Jersey, these bus drivers speed. I had this one woman reached out to me. Her sister got hit by a New Jersey Transit bus. And she had the right of way. And it ran over her leg. She got like $10 million something dollars, but her sister like, what is it? I don't want to disclose the lady's name, but she said that wasn't anything because all that money had to go through her operation. And she said this driver they never find him. He had a bad driver record. So what I find out, what they hiring people who's not experienced. We talking about a big old us in the lives.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, any last word? Seem like time go fast.
Time to go fast.
Where can they find you? Any last?
I can be reached through my contact information at Tri-State Transportation Campaign. My email is on the screen there, as is our website. And I think we also had a slide of the vision of the Safe Streets Alliance of New Jersey. And I would encourage, I hope that you would become involved with Families for Safe Streets New Jersey. And another way, in addition to all of the activism and important work that you're doing to bring attention to this and to work with other families who have unfortunately lost members of their families and their loved ones. And, I hope we can keep working together to get to zero.
Well, thank you for watching the Noneillah Talk Show at CNJN Network. I got to get it together since they changed it. So if you continue on want to see the show or listen to the show, I'm going to end this segment and you can watch it on Facebook Live or YouTube. Thank you. Take care. We can still talk because, it's over. If you want to still talk, people still watching us because we're on Facebook. So I just want her to clear the segment.
Yeah.
So I will look forward to being a part of it. So that's my mission, not just for my child. Actually, that's what Noneillah Talk Show is, in memory of my son. That was my son's picture.
Yeah.
Yes. And he was a well-known musician. And he was a young entrepreneur at the age of 22.
Wow.
So I run his brand.
Wow.
And I know you asked me how I got involved with the talk show. I did an interview. So somebody saw my story and they wanted to interview me in New York, cable TV, community TV. So I said, okay. And so the young lady well, why don't you do your own show? I'm doing my own show. What do you mean?
Yeah.
She said, this is a very important message to get out there. People don't know.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay. So I was referred to Montclair, then they referred me to here, and that's how I got into this. So I consider myself to being the voice of the voiceless, because all these lives are taking, they're not here.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they blame these victims.
Right.
Of course you could blame the victim because they're not here to talk.
Yeah.
They're not here to say anything. So what I do research and see, and I learned that there's not statistics on all the buses people being killed by New Jersey Transit bus. Not just New Jersey Transit, even MTA.
Right.
Because MTA, there's a lot of lives taken on MTA too. And I remember they Vision Zero, I think, or the Family of Safety
Family for Safe
for
Streets.
Safe Streets, right?
New York.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I learned more about them, because when I was doing research and trying to find somebody to help me what happened to my son to help get the word out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's nothing in New Jersey at the time. It's in New Jersey now, but at that time, because it happened in 2012 with my son. And at the time, it was not in New Jersey. So that's how come I know about Vision Zero and Family of Safety, because of my research.
Yeah.
And at the time, there was a lot of lives taken by MTA, which I like it. They curbed it down. Now the percentage is less.
Yeah.
Because I know they had passed a law or something, correct me if I'm wrong, to hold the bus drivers accountable. But at one point, they had declined it. The governor who was there back then in 2012 or 13, they had declined it. Now, when they pushed it again to legislature and they passed it, that the bus driver had to be on site. So what I've read, the number of people's lives are being taken by MTA did decrease from my research. But unlikely, it's not like that in New Jersey.
Well, also New York City did pass a 25 mile per hour speed limit on the streets. And that brought, again, until the pandemic, that helped bring a decline in pedestrian deaths from vehicle crashes.
Right.
But there's been a lot more reckless driving in the last going on 3 years. And so we've seen increases again. But I mean, most buses in Manhattan aren't going 25 miles per hour anyway. The average bus speed is 4.7 miles per hour in Midtown.
More.
Yeah.
Before, like when I was in Manhattan, they were speeding and I would jump back. And I told you about the young lady who lived in Montclair and her life was taken in Manhattan, what the driver was doing. And because of all the lives get taken by MTA and those taxis, so I saw, like I said, I do the research and it decreased. But I've been like, let's get Vision Zero in New Jersey. I guess the Lord answered my prayer, because this was back in 2012, because it wasn't that. So I said, well, apparently, whatever they're doing is working.
Yeah.
So we have to hold these drivers. Again, I focus on bus because that's what my research at. Why? For example, like what the driver with my son, he had a bad driver record. Just like another guy, the driver was speeding, hit the man. The man suffered with brain injury. Got $10 million. What is $10 million? All that money is going for his care, taking care of his care. The driver was on cocaine.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was on cocaine.
Yeah.
And he had 50, not one, but 50 infractions.
Wow.
And they still kept him on the bus driving. Wow. And as I share with Danny, he's on here, as I have all the ones on here. He's the guy with the blue shirt. Coach USA bus driver had killed him. And I spoke to his attorney. And his attorney, like, it happened all the time with New Jersey Transit and Coach USA, because Coach USA is subcontract by New Jersey Transit. And he said he's also going to the legislature trying to fight this. He said, this is ridiculous. These drivers should be in jail. If motorists like myself, if something like that happened, I'm going to go to jail. If not going to jail, something's going to happen to me. I'm going to reap the repercussion for my action.
Well, this is another big problem that you're pointing out, is that actually most fatalities that are caused by vehicles, the drivers are not held responsible. Juries and judges and the law is very prejudiced against vulnerable road users. You know, they use the pedestrian was distracted. Oh, the bicyclist was in the lane. Oh, the pedestrian was crossing against the light. There's very often the drivers are not held accountable.
And that's true.
In the court of law. And it's a mental perception that we have, this thing about the difference between an accident versus a crash, is that, no, if you're the person driving the weapon, you have to be responsible about how you do it. Now, I do know that one issue that buses in urban areas in particular, in New Jersey and in New York face is they are sharing the road with irresponsible individual drivers. So they're getting rear-ended, they're getting cut off, they're getting, they're driving in situations where they are being impacted. Now they're responsible for all the lives on board, obviously.
Yeah, because it was two, if I can't get my dates correct, I like to say 2016 when two buses crashed downtown North. They get crashed together. And then there was another incident, the train and New Jersey and the train and bus crashed. Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, where's the problem? There's a major problem that is really being swept under the rug with these lives. It's like, okay, as if it's never happened, but it's there. Because if I never did my research, I would never saw the countless lives. There's other people are advocating as well. However, somebody they doing behind the camera because they probably fear of some whatever reason. But to me, no, I'm not. So I'm like, I have to be the voice of all these lives has been taken. If I don't do it, who will? Who will? Because a lot of people don't think it's not a problem, which is a major problem in New Jersey. Major problem. I reached out to the governor. I wrote to politicians. They blew me all away. They ignored it. This is an issue, a serious issue. Like I say, these drivers speeding,
Right.
on drugs,
Right. Driving impaired.
looking at papers,
Yeah.
texting.
Looking at their phone. Yeah.
Yes, texting. And I also saw that it's this New Jersey Transit Advocate. I know they fighting for more bus on the road. They fighting for why would you need Wi-Fi on the buses? Bad enough these lives are being taken. So if you put Wi-Fi on the bus, yeah, for the passengers, I understand. But who's going to say that the driver is not going to take use of it as well? They're going to do the same thing. And I know Bob Menendez had passed a law to protect the drivers. If anybody insult them or whatever to the driver, they go to jail. That is a law. What they say, a free ride to jail. But if the driver do this to pedestrian, nothing happened. Nothing. And some driver, another case I read, especially dealing with my son case, one of the driver, he was very nasty towards my son, threatened my son. This is online. And people were shocked that he wound up carrying that threat into my son's life.
Wow.
And they cover, it was an accident. He was not this, he was not that. Once I got my son case file, I unfolded a lot of corruption and cover up. So that's how come I can speak for this, because I do a lot of research.
Yeah.
But the Department of Transportation, they don't put this in the tally. They just focus on the motorists,
Pedestrian, bicycle. Yeah.
right? And they nothing. I went to a point of speaking to somebody at the motor vehicle, one of the manager, and she told me a lot. I don't want to get into it, but she told me a lot about when there's a life is being taken, they supposed to report it to New Jersey State Police.
Right.
When I called for my son, it was not in there. It wasn't in there. She like, "Mom, hold up, let me call you back. I got to do some research." She said, "No wonder they wrote it as it was my son's fault."
Oh.
So this is what I'm saying. These bus drivers get away with actually murder. And from, like I said, from my thing, people messaging me, telling me this story. One woman on Instagram, she shared with me. She like, my loved one, a family member, life was taken by the train. So it's so hard to dispute with the train because they're going to say suicidal. They're going to say you're trespassing. And I said, well, what about the train track above ground? Because sometimes the gate doesn't work. Like we were saying, I don't know, is it the city supposed to take care of it? The county,
right?
But everybody
the state.
The state. Everybody blame everyone. Sometimes, like one article I read, the gate didn't go, and the person was walking. Life was taken. They didn't hear the choo choo. The train didn't blow it.
Yeah.
And by the time the person can move.
Yeah. Well, it's really amazing that you are devoting, your energy and your time after losing your son, which is
And my only
the
child.
worst thing I can imagine.
I suffer every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they sit here, when I say they, the prosecutor, the politician, do nothing about it.
But, you're bringing attention to a really important issue and helping save lives. And
I'm trying to.
That's really matters.
Because, again, people reached out to me, and that's why I share here all these love. Like the young boy, 10 years old, with the red.
Mm-hmm.
The bus driver was sitting there, wasn't paying attention to the road, was talking. I read the article.
Mm.
He was on a bike and ended his life.
Mm.
Nothing happened to the driver. Nothing. The guy with the blue with Coach, his lawyer, like I said, I spoke to his lawyer. He had fought, and they had prosecuted his driver. Then there was another guy, the heavyset guy with the glasses. His driver was charged as well because they fought for the driver get. Well, his driver had community service. What's community service when this mother is crying every day for her child? Whether he's a grown man, young man, baby, still her child.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Yeah.
And the other guy with the hat, his driver was just charged like 6 months ago. 6 months ago. He flagging him down, trying to get off. She dragged him. Same like my son. The driver, he jumped the curb, ran my son over twice, and then dragged him. The people on the bus told him to stop multiple times. He didn't. So this is what I'm saying. I can talk for that, for being in it and doing research, and other people reaching out to me.
Mm-hmm.
I can't go in full detail with them. I just only go with what they share with me. But I can go in full detail with me because they was covering up. They was lying to me. They mean the prosecutor. The lawyers I hired.
Wow.
So no one's going to fight harder than a mother.
That's right.
You can lie, but we got that radar. That doesn't sound right. We know our child. We know what they will do and won't do. When they say my son was chasing the bus, I'm like, what? My son, he was like pretty boy. He didn't feel like chasing the bus. He would jog like slowly. Because I remember when we went on the trip, he said, Mom, why are you running? Because when you have to connect the connected train thing.
Oh, yeah.
Was it the Charlie to connect to the next flight? And my son like, me and my sister running. And my son like, why are you running? He said, what, something going to happen to you? Then what? We're like, come on, Deshaun, hurry up, run. He would not run. Well, let it go when we can get another one.
Miss the plane.
Right. And so that's how he was. And so when they was telling me that, I'm like, hello, that doesn't sound like my son. He ain't running around when he was good. Mm-hmm. And so when I really start digging deep, everything unfolded. The cover up, the corruption, the lie. I put some of the evidence on YouTube with the prosecutor telling the driver, oh, you didn't do anything wrong by killing my son. With transit lawyers saying, oh, you know what? They're going to take care of it. I work with the prosecutor all the time. You don't have anything to worry about. They're going to take care of everything. Put it on YouTube. I can't make this up.
Wow.
So that's how I'm saying it's deeper, and it's happened like twice. Every time when I do Google, within 2 days out of the week, a life is taken. Google justice for the New Jersey Transit Coach USA, you will be taken back. And someone, I don't know who this person, very diligently have a page remembering every life taken. And I guess that's how they keep their tally of lives taken, since New Jersey Transit is not going to do it. Of course they're not going to do it because they're part of the problem. Mm-hmm. So where's the solution if you're the problem?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, thank you for shining a light on this important issue.
Yes. I appreciate it because something also got to be done by the bus driver. And then, like I said, when I spoke to the lawyer, he was telling me his input. He said, unfortunately, some of the lawyers just trained just to take the money and leave. He said, but our firm, we go deeper than that because these are people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do when we make a settle, in order for us to settle, we force them to put the driver in jail to get off the road because it doesn't make sense. They kill somebody and they back on the road to kill again. And and then they get a pension. It's like you reward them for bad behavior, a salary and a pension. And he was saying what we do, his law firm, they go to the legislator and trying to fight it to put these drivers behind bars or have them losing their job. He say they talk to the legislator and as well the union, the bus union, because they allow them to stay on the road too.
Yeah, it's really important to talk with the unions.
Yeah, and nothing happened, but they do talk to him. Like, look at these lives are being taken. Of course, they lawyers like, oh, you know what? It didn't. He didn't meant to do it. Okay, if a person argue, two people arguing, I'm not gonna wake up and say, oh, I'm planning to end somebody's life today. But our behavior as human beings, when you argue, you have that rage, and next thing you know, fatality occurred. And guess what? You're going to jail. No, it was not my plan to do it, but because of the incident it led to into someone's lives. So it's the same like with the driver. Why should you get away? This is vehicle homicide or assault with vehicle. And they can get to go home to their family. But these people, these just a picture, but it's more names on this site.
Sure.
On the site, I saw, I guess the family members didn't release pictures, but on that site, Justice for New Jersey Transit Coach USA, they have names of all these names from what year, township, county. This person really broke it down from township, county, and everything.
Wow.
And the statistic.
Wow.
So that's how come I'm saying, Vision Zero and other organization, Family for Safety.
Family for Safe Streets.
Safe Streets.
And the New Jersey Vision Zero Alliance.
Yes, need to actually incorporate this because they do not do it with the bus drivers. The drivers go get away with murder and get paid with a check. Yes. So anything else?
No.
I know. Anything else you want to share? We're just on Facebook.
Well, I'm mom of a 17-year-old and a 20-year-old sons, and I admire what you're doing.
My son's friend, Noble Ross, the young lady under my son, with the green, the young man with the dreadlock, that's my son.
Mm-hmm.
The woman under him, I don't want to state where I used to live at, but in Montclair, in the place that I lived at, the woman lived right across the hall from us. January the 23rd, 2012, her life was taken.
Wow.
My son knocked on the door like, Mom, Noble Rose, she just got killed. I said, how, Deshaun? He like, wow, Buzz. When I read the article, they blamed her. They said she jumped out in the street and moved, her child ran in the street and she pushed the child out the way. A witness said that was a lie. He said he was livid when he saw the title. He said I witnessing and I would go to court. It was the driver's fault.
Wow.
He said the woman had the right of way. He said he was on the bike and he sat there and watched everything. He was just like shocked. While the woman had the right of way, the driver kept going. He was doing something on the phone and ended her life. Do you know nothing happened to him? Didn't go to jail. And I know the young lady.
Yeah.
And when I saw her mother, I said, I just cannot imagine. Yeah. And I said, Deshaun, be careful. You know how these bus drivers are. They speed. That's how come I say, oh, bus accident. No, it's not a bus accident. The bus driver, because a bus just can't do it. The bus driver who killed him. Oh, the bus hit it. No, the bus driver. The driver used the bus. If the bus there, it cannot hit anyone. It can't. It's immobile. So when I said, Deshaun, be careful. You know how these drivers speed and be careful. No, 5 months and 27 days later, my son get killed. Get killed. They cover up hers and they cover up his.
Mm.
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, sorry for breaking down, but and this driver still get away with murder, and all these victims, except 3 drivers, is out there on the road, and then most of them had very bad, very bad driving record. And I just saw before I got here, New Jersey Transit is giving people 6,000 bonuses to drive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a shortage of bus drivers right now. There's a lot of competition for people with commercial driver's licenses.
But they're not training them. I had, like I told you, I had New Jersey Transit chief of compliance. He was in charge of safety. He came to the show. And he actually validated all these lives are taken. Mm-hmm. If you go into Noneillah talk show on YouTube, you'll see our interview. Mm. And he said when they had like a blue, something like a warning, like a blue light or something. And so he didn't know what was going on. And he like, what is that? And New Jersey Transit police, he like, it happened all the time. You'll get used to it. Mm. You get used to it. Like these lives are not important. It's not important. They made something supposed to be abnormal to something normal. And have a cold heart about it. And these people's lives are taken forever. I'm never going to be eating good. And there's no light. And this is why I started this, for victims to come here and share their story. So if any victims who lost their lives from New Jersey Transit, bus, train, MTA, hey, around the world, wherever you live at, you're welcome to come and share your story. Because it's important. Because if no one don't say anything, no one knows. So it take one person trying to make a change. And I'm that person to be the voice for the voiceless. And use this platform for them. So, okay. Facebook people, thank you for watching. And as you know, you can check out the rest of the segment. I'm quite sure you saw everything with Miss Felicia, her contact information, and reach out to her if you want to volunteer and be the voice. Bye.